Hello and welcome to the video. This is a quick video about this thing here. This is the SkyRC BD250. Now, I've had the original BD200 for about 5.5 years. I got mine back in October 2018, and these are fantastic units for getting your battery back down to a storage charge relatively quickly and safely. What you do is you just plug the battery in the side, select the target voltage that you want it discharged to, the amount of current that you want to pull to get there, hit enter, and away it goes. Now, the original BD200 that I've had for over 5 years has been a loyal companion. And when I reviewed it, I did talk about the fact that there were a number of things that were missing from the design. And most recently, I've started to do a lot more flying with 6S packs. And I'm finding that with the BD200, there's a slight issue with mine. If I plug in a 6S pack, more often than not, it doesn't power up and allow me to discharge it. So I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to buy a BD250 and see how much better that is than the older BD200 that you can't get anymore. Now, both of these are basically a massive heatsink that is cooled by a fan that dissipates the additional voltage as heat. And my initial issues with the original BD200 boiled down to just a couple of things. There was no monitoring application or way to see what was going on. You just had to look at the display and it made a loud beeping sound at the end. There wasn't any connection for a balance tap, which I thought was a major oversight. Being able to monitor the individual cells would allow you to make sure that none of the cells were going below a voltage that would cause an issue. And it would also have allowed the unit to automatically select the right cell count. And there wasn't any protection for overcurrents as well. Now, this new BD250 has a number of advantages over that BD200 that you can't get anymore. Specifically, there's an external 40 amp fuse here in the base. You do get a spare one in the box, and that means that if in the event of something nasty happening, it will be protected. And you also have the ability to connect it to a computer via a USB cable, and with a little application, monitor what's going on, as well as set all the pieces for the target voltage and other bits too. Now, in terms of using both of these units, they're exactly the same. You just plug the battery into the XT60 at the side. You then hit the select button. You select the voltage that you want for the entire pack at the end, and you select the amperage, and then you press and hold the select key, and that will start the process running. There's a nice blue light at the top, and when the unit starts to get a bit warm, you'll hear the fan come on. So with the only big two advantages of the BD250 being the fact that we now have a slightly higher discharge rating, and we have that fuse in the bottom to protect us in the event of something horrible happening. The other big thing, of course, was the application. Now, I initially struggled with the app because I needed to update the firmware on this BD250 as it arrived. The trick is you don't start and stop anything from the display on the front. You leave the select button alone. You do all of the control via the application, and when it's updated, that seems to work quite well. However, the application itself is rather basic because, again, you're only looking at the overall battery voltage. You're not getting any detail into the individual cells and their relative performance in the pack as it has been discharged. So I'm going to be swapping over to this new BD250. It seems to be a little bit happier about discharging 6Ss. I have, as you've spotted, put this sticker on the front that tells me what the target voltages should be for storage charge for 3, 4 and 6S packs, which are the ones that I use all the time here. I would have liked that kind of information to be printed on here already. It just makes it easier when I have to try and remember it as I'm discharging packs. But it's frustrating that they haven't taken the feedback that a lot of us gave them on the original BD200 when they designed this. Specifically, there is no balance port in the side for the unit to be able to monitor individual cell voltages and performance as the discharge is happening. If it was, the unit would be a lot safer. It could also have automatic setup for the storage voltage based on the cell counts, and it would allow for the monitoring and measurement of the cells during that discharge cycle. And that would give you much more data of how the individual cells are performing rather than just an overall pack view of how things are going on. For example, you could spot when one cell is starting to get lazy or getting a higher internal resistance. That internal resistance would show up as a more significant voltage drop on that specific cell. Being able to spot that and let you know that that's the case would be a very handy thing to know. And it would have been nice in the app to store the different battery names and numbers so that you could keep a track of stuff, so that the app could compare discharge after discharge to kind of let you know how things like internal resistances were changing over time. And also we have an XT60 on the side. It would have been nice for this unit to start to come shipped with an adapter cable that also allows you to plug in XT30s, XT90 and maybe even Deans too. I was really hoping that they'd bring out an updated version of the BD200 with that balance tap in it, because it would enable this thing to be able to do an awful lot more than just dump all of the excess charge as a load of heat that just gets exhausted into the room that you're discharging in. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they are listening to feedback, and maybe in a future updated version they add that kind of functionality into this tabletop discharger. Does that mean I'm not going to be using this one? No, absolutely not. This new BD250 is going to take over from my BD200. That can find a new home, and this is going to be how I discharge my packs at the end of every flying day, just to make sure they're all nicely down at storage charge. Storage charging your batteries after every flight will prolong their life and also maintain their performance longer too. So SkyRC, if you're watching this, please make a version of this that has the balance tap, that has those kind of features in. It would take something that's just basically a dumb fan-cooled heatsink into something that you could actually use effectively to monitor your battery performance. Thank you for watching my video. Check out the playlist, and adding Pedantry 60 to your search terms will help you find my content. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. You can support the time I spend here answering questions and helping others by using the links in the video description.